Hey guys, this is Tom Box. Thanks for tuning into MST.TV. Today we're demoing 6 Age of Overlord combos. That's right, 6. We're going to do physical cards all the way through. We've got 2 from branded Chimera, FTK and OTK. We've got 3 from Rescue Ace, different lines that you can end on. They're all really powerful. I will explain why. And we got the 1 card combo from Mannadium that you should know. These are things that you should be expecting at the next big events, at least to some degree or some variations of these combos. So don't get caught off guard. They do end on a lot of disruption, and sometimes you don't even get to play, so maybe it will affect how you want to sideboard. Anyways, enough talk, let's jump into the combos. Okay, starting off with the branded Chimera FTK. This is a Handloop FTK that's available thanks to the new card, the new fusion. 0 chance of clapback, so I'm still considering it as an FTK, even though you'd more or less kill them on turn 3. But they have no way to play back, so here we go. I'm choosing to use Trap Tracks as my way to dig out the trap card versus, using Trap Trick, because I don't want to brick. Okay, if open too many of these trap cards, you're gonna have a terrible time. To make it competitively viable, Trap Tracks is probably the better choice, where you can destroy a monster and then set a trap from your deck. So anyways, starting off with the standard line with Mirror Sword Knight, summon out the Big Wing Baphomet. Baphomet gets you the Gazelle and the Chimera fusion, and we're at the Chimera fusion phase of fusing into Chimera King of the Mythical Beast. King of the Phantom Beast rather, and we're going to activate that as Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Gazelle, Chainlink 3, Baphomet target the Mirror Sword Knight, and then Gazelle will add the Kodo into hand, and we're going to rip 1 during the end phase. Don't forget about that, because it's something that a lot of people tend to forget about. Next, we're going to activate the Chimera fusion, add it back to your hand. Typically, you would set it, but in this particular case, you would activate it right away, but first, let's get rid of the Kodo. Kodo is going to add the Mirror Sword Knight. Essentially, you just need an illusion or something along those lines. Illusion, Beast, Fiend, and we're going to activate the Chimera fusion. We're going to purposely put the Chimera into the graveyard because we're going to use that effect during our opponent's turn. And we're going to summon out Baphomet, the Mythical King of Phantom Beasts, and we're going to activate the effect to Foolish into the graveyard, Protector of the Sanctuary. You know where this is going now, don't you? Because we're going to abuse Chain Links, and we're going to set the Trap Tracks into the graveyard. And then we're going to pass turn, they have to rip 1, just in case things don't always work out. However, don't activate everything in draw phase, wait for the standby phase, and during standby phase, you can shotgun the Trap Tracks. Try to not let them advance their phases. You don't even have to care about your opponent having triple tactics, talent, or thrust, because they're going to have nothing. We're going to set the disturbance strategy after popping our monster, and then we're going to, in response to everything, activate the disturbance strategy as the first card, and then we're going to chain Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, and target our Protector of the Sanctuary, because it can revive a Beast, Fiend, Illusion. So we're going to go for the Fiend, Protector of the Sanctuary, and then we're going to chain on top of that Baphomet to summon back the Chimera, so we can cycle the card and therefore keeping our negates live. So we're going to summon out the Chimera first. That's Chainlink 3. Chainlink 2 is going to summon back the Protector of the Sanctuary, and then we're going to go with the disturbance strategy, forcing them to shuffle everything back. And if you don't know the effect of the Protector of the Sanctuary, your opponent can't draw cards outside of their draw phase. It only applies to the opponent, so we have to resolve disturbance strategy as much as we can, so it shuffles everything back and they don't get to draw any cards. Now you don't have to worry about activating your Mirror Sword Knight. Mirror Sword Knight going to Big Wing Baphomet, Big Wing Baphomet get Gazelle, and get yourself the Chimera fusion. And I guess you're ready to basically OTK your opponent from this particular point, because your opponent has no way of fighting back. Okay, now for the OTK of the deck. This is just a 1-card OTK. It does about 9,000 damage, over 9,000 damage rather. Oh, okay, so Mirror Sword Knight, standard play. Nothing really too difficult here. We're going to pretty much speed through this. And this is going to require the new Master Towers, the Chanter. That card, I think a lot of people are underestimating that card, but I'm still just gonna go through the line here. Straight into the Baphomet effect, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3. We have Gazelle, and we have the Big Wing Baphomet. Big Wing Baphomet is gonna summon back the Mirror Sword Knight. Gazelle is going to add a Kodo into my hand. If I don't have it already, just add whatever illusion you have available. Go for the illusion monster. I think the Chanter also makes it so that maybe Nightmare Magician is worth playing. And then we're going to activate the effect, or rather resolve the effect of the Baphomet. We're going to dump the Master Towel, the Chanter. Now, Master Towel, the Chanter has an effect as well. It summons back an illusion monster from the graveyard. So we're going to summon back Kodo, the effect's negated. However, we're going to activate Chimera Fusion, and we're going to add that to our hand. We're going to activate the Chimera Fusion. We're going to fuse away all the monsters, all 4 of them. And as long as your opponent has 1 monster on the field, and you have enough life points to chunk the first hit, this can attack 4 times, and it will zero out the monster the first time it hits. So this adds a new lethal line for the Chimera. So it's 4 hits. The first one, maybe it doesn't deal enough damage, or maybe you take damage, but then 2 and 3 and 4 is going to finish your opponent off. Alright, next we've got Sinful Spoil Rescue Ace, and if you guys like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell. We got more coming up, and I'm also going to do deck profile on the Rescue Ace side, you know, just the current build for my competitive play side. Now anyway, starting off in the draw phase, activate the Wanted at the Diabell Star. Now in the main phase, you get to do the special summon, but you activate the Wanted during the draw phase so that you don't get stuck under a droll right away, because there are more cards to search. Start off with the free summon, or rather the paid summon of Diabell Star. It doesn't activate, summon it out, and then we'll set the Origin activate now, and we're going to send Diabell Star, a face-up card, into the graveyard to summon out a level 1 fire from the deck, and that's going to be our Rescue Ace Hydrant. Activate the Hydrant and add the Airlifter, mainly Airlifter because we don't have any of the Rescue Ace cards in the graveyard. Add the Emergency so we can kind of cheat out a little bit of our Turbulence. Now we can activate the Emergency, we can dig into our deck, get the Turbulence, put the Airlifter into the graveyard, and you can just activate Turbulence. Yes, this is a slight weak point in the deck. Just accept that it's part of it. I mean, sure, if you open with Airlifter plus another card, it's really good, but Airlifter itself, if they have double hand trap, it still really hurts. And instead of just going for like rescue all the time, you could just go for Emergency if you want to recycle some of your trap cards and click, just in case your opponent just breaks your board a bit. But you get to start off with Emergency resetting a card while keeping a Hydrant. And I also like using Book of Moon to prevent the imperms from coming down, because if you Book of Moon, you still get to keep your Rescue Ace Hydrant face up, which means you can immediately still activate the alert after the set is complete. Otherwise, if you use Book of Eclipse, you would set your 4 cards, everything gets flipped face down, and therefore nothing is really that high value. But you did get your set 4. But if you use Book of Moon, you get to keep everything live with Hydrant, which is probably better. Now, anyways, go for the alert. Add the Preventer. I am not exactly a fan of the Cyburst line, because it requires you to commit 7 cards in your extra deck to play that line. If something requires that much of a commitment, it should be a game that doesn't require grinding. And if you have to play Pot of Prosperity with that and you go for 6, you've committed basically down to 13 cards. So you got 2 cards left. That's not very much where I like to go. So instead, I like to go into Preventer and straight into IP just to maintain my resources. Because you have to remember that this is Age of Overlord. We do have SP in the extra deck. SP counts for 2 disruption on its own, so you don't have to overly commit. And don't forget Wanted. Don't forget to activate Wanted so that you can banish it, and then basically put the Origin back into the bottom so you can draw a card. And just look at the amount of disruption you actually have. SP essentially counts for 2 because it removes a monster, or removes a card on summon, and you get to remove another monster till the end phase. And then you have the Rescue that can bring back the Preventer here, and that's another Book of Moon. The Extinguish is more or less a Call by the Grave with Destruction. The Contain is more or less a no material plus negation. It's not that easy to break through everything. If you have all this just through 2 cards, it's hard for people to play out. Next, let's go into the second combo here, and this is going to be, what if you have Airlifter plus Wanted? Does it change things up? I mean, the other one we start with an Impulse. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to see if I can keep up with the pace here. So I'm going to activate, or rather summon out the Airlifter, activate the effect at the Emergency. This is more of a line exploration because the end board's still fairly strong. I believe this one I get to kind of dodge. This one I get to dodge the Imperm, especially when it comes down to Turbulence. So we're going to put that into the graveyard and special summon out the Diabell Star. And Diabell Star is going to set the Sinful Origin. We're going to set that, or rather, it's just straight up just activate. We're just going to activate anyway. But the whole point here is that we're going to hold on to Emergency just so that when we drop our Turbulence, we can activate the Emergency. So we're going to summon out the Rescue Ace Hydrant. And we're going to activate the Hydrant. And that's going to add to our hand the Turbulence. Now note that we only have 1 card in the graveyard, which is going to be the Airlifter. So we're going to have to link away our Hydrant. And that's going to summon out the Link Karibo. Next, we're going to banish 2 for the Rescue Ace Turbulence. Now, it doesn't look so strong right now, but just pay attention here for the follow-up. We're going to activate the Turbulence, and we're going to set the 4 cards. And yes, we cannot activate any of those 4 cards yet because, well, first of all, we don't have any sort of Rescue Ace Hydrant available. So there's the alert. So we still have one space left. We're going to activate our emergency because we didn't summon it out through emergency. We didn't summon anything else through emergency. So we're going to activate emergency. And this emergency is going to summon out Preventer. Preventer is going to allow me to just use as material to link it off so I can revive my hydrant. But during this entire time, all it really meant was that my opponent has no way of stopping me from getting the 4 cards because they would have needed something like a Gamma. And if they need to target my card with a Valor or Imperm, that's not going to work for them. So we're just going to take the 2 monsters going to Hita. I don't know if this is the most optimal monster, but essentially I just need to get rid of the name. I could also find my way to kind of loop into a Sunlight Wolf if needed, but we're going to use Preventer. Preventer get the Turbulence, sorry, not Turbulence, I guess the Hydrant. Hydrant get back the Alert activation, so that's my 1 activation that I'm allowed. And so now that I have the Preventer, now I can use the effect to summon up Preventer because I only summon up Preventer via emergency the previous time. So this is going to allow me to banish the Turbulence. So if my Preventer now dies, I get a Turbulence back, which is, you know, a-okay. And with the Preventer there, well, unfortunately, I'm probably just going to link it off if it was up to me, because if I could just link it off, I get to go into an IP Masquerena. But before that, remember that there's still the draw effect from the Wanted, so don't forget about that. But be careful that you don't do it if you're under Pot of Prosperity, okay? There's just ways that things can go wrong and you might get yourself a game loss because you drew a card when you're not supposed to. Very dangerous stuff. And so we're just gonna go into IP. The reason for that is you can, SP is just so much value to the point I can't neglect it. You can also go into an Appaloosa if you want to, but that's not the direction I want to go. You can activate the rescue so that you still have the Extinguish and Contain live. And so this is one of the ways that you can definitely play this one out. And finally, this last one here, we're going to start off with Summon with Airlifter. We have Diabell Star already in hand this time, and we have 1 additional card for the emergency to throw away. We're going to try to establish a board where we have an Omni Negate so that we don't get crushed by cards like Evenly Match or Lightning Storm, you know, Feather Duster, because we'll tend to search those cards out and we need to be able to prevent them. Starting off with the standard combo, instead of throwing away our Airlifter, instead we've tossed away the extra monster, and now we're back at the point of the Turbulence. Okay, so this is the part where we're starting to change up a little bit. I mean, up till now it's like double card standard combo, activate the Turbulence. Hopefully it does not get negated because this one does not have the negation prevention. And we're going to set up our 4 cards. Now we're going to special summon out the Diabell Star by sending away the Airlifter into the graveyard and going to activate the effect of Diabell Star. Diabell Star is going to set the Origin. The Origin can help fetch us our Tuner. We're going to activate the Origin. Since before we do that, we're activating the Alert. We're going to add the Preventer since we still have that. Now that we've activated our 1 card, now we can activate the Origin. We're going to put away the Hydrant. That's going to summon out our Jet Synchron. And here, now, this is the point where we're going to assume we're getting hit by a Nibiru, alright? So, Nibiru hits all our cards because we have hit our 5 summon. Nibiru lands onto the field. However, because Preventer is not used yet, we're going to activate Preventer and we're going to banish our Hydrant and summon out our Preventer. Now, don't forget, we're going to re-explore our line. We're just assuming we're getting hit by Nibiru here. Then we're going to take 2 monsters with levels, and we're going to link summon that into an IP Masquerena. Preventer got sent to the graveyard, therefore it's going to activate, and that's going to allow us to get the Hydrant special summon back onto the field, which means we have IP Masquerena, we have Rescue, we have the 2 trap cards, we have follow-up with the Jet Synchron. And if we do use Rescue, we still have Book of Moon, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 Disruption, even though we did eat that Nibiru. Now we're going to rewind back. What happens instead if we go into Barone? Barone, Preventer, Preventer summon out, take the Diabell Star and Preventer, then we can go into an IP Masquerena, effect of Preventer. Preventer summons out the Hydrant, and we're exactly where we are before now, except that we have, Barone. Okay, next, finally, we're going to go into the 1-card combo of Mannadium, starting off with the Riem Heart. Riem Heart is a 1-card combo. We can normal summon out that card, and we're going to add to our hand a Mannadium Meek. Using these 2 monsters, we can now synchro summon to the new monster of Mannadium, Trasukta. Activate Trasuta. It functions like an XL Stardust, summoning back a level 2 tuner from the graveyard, but it negates its effect. And we're going to summon back the Meek. Now, the reason why this works out, even though both of these are tuners, is because Visa Samratara does not require a non-tuner. It just needs a light monster, and that actually acts as the tuner more than the actual tuner. Anyways, from that particular point, we're going to add a Calarium. If you already have Calarium, add the Reframing, and Reframing is the additional card that just makes this combo even stronger. And there's many different routes that you can take to kind of get to where you need to go, but because Visa's Amitara counts as a Visa Starfrost, so you can use it to link into a Light Heart and add the Rectophobia. So now that you have both field spells, what's really important here is that you activate the Rectophobia first to get the Rect Heart getting the Arrival, and now you can finish the field spell with the Planet Calarium. You need to finish with that because you will use the effect much later on, but we're going to use that to add the Visa Starfrost. Visa Starfrost activate, we're going to destroy the Light Heart in the graveyard because you do control a Visa Starfrost. You can special summon that back onto the field. You can do that once per duel, and now we're going to Synchro 10 into Barone de Fleur. Now we have Scarecrow Arrival to kind of follow up and try to keep everything in defense mode if possible, because you do want to try to get a draw at some point if you can do that with the Rect Heart. Now we're going to get the Scareclaw Rect Heart special summon, and we're going to use the Light Heart with it and link summon into Cross Sheep. And remember Visa's Astrolaud, you can banish cards from the graveyard, the Visa Starfrost plus a monster with the Heart stat line, and you can go into Astrolaud. And because we summoned the fusion onto the Cross Sheep Arrow, that's going to activate, and that's going to allow us to special summon back one of our level 4 lower monsters, and that's going to be Meek. We're going to activate Barone de Fleur to destroy the Meek. Meek's going to activate, and Calarium's going to activate, summoning back the Meek from the graveyard. That one's negated, and the one that's summoned from the deck, that one's going to be level 4. I think I mixed up the positions, but anyways, assuming that's the level 4 one, we're going to go into Crimson Dragon with a 4 and an 8, and we're going to activate the Crimson Dragon targeting the Barone de Fleur. This part's more or less standard here because we've seen it all the time. We're going to use Display to revive the Visa Starfrost, and then we're going to use all the bodies and go into an Appaloosa, banish the 2 once again with the correct stat line, and we can summon another Visa's Astrolaud. And if you have the trap card, now you have a counter trap for everything, so more or less you have all coverage except for Super Poly. And that's all I got for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you saw anything that you like some of the supplies, cardstock, pink sleeves, whatever sleeves that you saw, well, that's available at MST.TV, so check it out. And I'll give you guys a Rescue Ace profile very soon. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.